What's up? This is Patrick of Radicards.com, and in this review, I'll be discussing my experience at the May 18 through 21, 2023 Dallas Card Show. And so we'll be talking about 9 cards in this run today. And I've ordered this list chronologically, and 2 of these cards were actually acquired outside of the Dallas Card Show, but I added them in because I think they make good talking points. So let's jump right into it here. This first one is a 1971 Topps Tommy John. Now, the reason why I've included this card because when I was younger, a really early collector, I had a copy of this card. It was my first vintage card of anybody. And I always thought it was so cool because it was like 1971 was long before I was born. And I just remember having this card and be like, wow, a 1971 Topps baseball card. Pretty cool. Tommy John, I learned later, had that, he was known for the surgery and, he had a pretty interesting career with a bunch of different teams. His rookie card was a 64. I acquired this card once, signed at a previous national. I think it was at a national. Maybe it was at another Dallas Card Show. I don't remember, but I have a ballpoint pen signed version of this card. So the initial card I had when I was younger, I think ended up in the purge from 2008 when I scrubbed my collection and got rid of anything that was extracurricular. And I started narrowing my focus on this types of stuff I really want to just pay attention to. And so that stuff that got donated was a lot. It was a lot of volume. And I think the initial example of this that I had as a kid didn't make the cut. I don't know. And like looking at this more closely now, it might be trimmed on the right side of the card, but it doesn't matter. It's just It's in my vintage collection, so we're good. I'm not going to do anything with it. It's not going to get graded or anything like that. This, I think, was sub $1. So kind of cool. There you have it. This is the 1971 Topps Tommy John. All right, next on the list here, this is the 1986 Portland Beavers Pro Cards Mike Maddox minor league card. I don't see this stuff very frequently, these like older 80s minor league cards. I see them in sets, offered in sets, and I'm not tempted to buy them in sets because I'd want to break the sets and just get the one card. So I'm not really one to buy 80s minor league sets. I like the singles. I prefer just to buy the singles. So this card actually was acquired at the latest Adet Shaverm show. And I was only there for 2 hours on Sunday. It was a Sunday, Monday show. And this was in the quarter box. I actually passed up on it and then came back to it. And I was like, I should just get that. It's Greg Maddox's brother. He's a little bit older than Greg. Mike Maddox, he came up with the Phillies, his initial early 87, 88, those late 80s years. When I see Mike Maddox stuff, which is rare, I just don't see it ever. It's like Dwayne Ward stuff, like a great pitcher for the Blue Jays in 87, but I never see his stuff anywhere because nobody wants it, so nobody's going to sell it. So Mike Maddox, kind of a cool 80s card that I just love these 80s minor league cards. They're so simple. Usually like a white border or basic solid color border, and then some frame around the image, and the image shows the pitcher or the batter in a very 80s feel. It works. I love the no belt pants, the spandexy waistband. It's such a cool thing. But I just had to grab this. It's such a cool piece. So I know I don't have a Mike Maddox section. I won't have one. And I wouldn't put this in my Greg Maddox section. But admittedly, Craig Griffey goes in my King Griffey Jr. section because I don't know why, they're brothers, but for some reason that works a little bit better. King Griffey Sr. stuff goes there too. I have Jose Canseco. I have some bench warmers cards of his ex-wife with kiss stamps on them, and those go in the Jose Canseco section. So it's I could put this in Greg Maddox. I don't know, who knows? Right now it's in the Phillies section of my team's box, which I think is a fine place to put it. But if I wanted to really be uniform about it, I'd put it in the Greg Maddox section. Anywho, this is cool. This is the 1986 Portland Beavers Pro Cards Mike Maddox minor league card. All right, moving on here. This one is a personal story. 1988 score Mike Devereaux signed. So this is random, right? Because it's who's Mike Devereaux? I think it's a French last name. When I was younger, 1994, I was collecting cards in Virginia, Fairfax. And I was with near my aunt and uncle and their kids, my cousins. And my cousin and I would get together and go to like, we'd trade cards and we'd go buy cards, go to like card shops and stuff. And this was kind of like the time when I was trying to identify what makes, beyond the Hall of Fame guys, like what makes a player worth filing. And so I would like, this is like the early years of me like prospecting player quality. I was looking at the backs of cards from like these junk waxy era cards, and I was thinking, well, what kinds of standards would I look at to identify if a player can be good over the long term? And so I'd look at the backs. It's like a batting average was always a classic one to look at, hits, but it really came down to batting average. Like, well, what is a basic standard batting average that I could look at and be like, this guy might turn into something later? And I don't remember what it was, like 260. I don't really remember. But I remember back then thinking, okay, Mike Daverax, that's how I pronounced his name back in 94, Mike Daverax. I was telling my cousin, I was like, maybe we should file Mike Daverax, because if we're looking at batting average and it's this specific rate, maybe he's going to be, good. 88 score, Mike Daverax was like one of the cards when I was like, maybe he's going to be a guy. Let's file the Mike Daverax card in the binder. And it was this card. And the seller at the Dallas Card Show had the 88 Don Russ signed Mike Daverax. I did not buy that one because it doesn't have the same memory. This one does. And so I just put this in my junk wax 88 score run. And he's the card right before Tom Glavine. So Tom Glavine is 638. Mike Daveru is 637. I wouldn't buy this card raw without this autograph. And because I want to say this card autographed was $0.25. Happy to get this in the collection. Like, again, it's a personal story. I try to share some personal stories in these things for you guys to like get some entertainment value out of just strict facts, right? So kind of a fun thing. So this is the 1988 score Mike Daveru signed card. Kind of a cool thing. All right, next on the list here, you'll like this. This is the Vladimir Guerrero 1999 Home Run Heroes. Now, I had to take a double take on this one when I saw it, because the Home Run Heroes set isn't chromed out like this one. I was like, wait a minute, this is not normally a chrome run, so what the heck? So I was like, I got to get that, because I got to learn about the set and figure out what the heck is happening here. So this is a retail exclusive. Now, how this worked was from March to April of 1999, there were 4 companies that got together and produced a 16-card set, and each issued 4 cards in the set to feature like the best hitters of the era. And they were issued in big box retail stores like Walmart. And the companies included Fleer, Skybox, Upper Deck, Topps, and Pacific. And each company had 4 individual blocks. It was like 1 to 4 were this company, 5 to 8 were this company, and so on. And so when I saw this, I was like, such a cool thing, and it's a retail exclusive. I don't actively look for Vlad Guerrero stuff. I just run across it at shows, but I don't really have a search set up online to look for his stuff. But this is one of those dollar cards, and I was like, I'm just going to grab it because it's so interesting and weird, and so I had to get it. I remember Frank Thomas in 2003 when I had this, the like standard card in the non-chromed out version of this. So this is like an Upper Deck design, but Topps Chrome issued this design for this particular retail set, which is why when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, Topps Chrome is doing an Upper Deck design. It's such a cool thing. So back in 2003, when I first got the Home Run Heroes of Frank Thomas from the Upper Deck set, the non-retail exclusive thing, I had a hard time identifying this card because there was another set that was issued that same year, and they had like the same card number from Challengers for 70. And I was like, well, wait, this is like Power Elite. Do I look for the Power Elite? I mean, it was a real problem for me for a while there. And then I remember noting it. And in my doubles box, like I note on the back what the heck this is. So when I file it, I know where it goes to not get those things mixed up. Really weird thing. But this is cool. This one's like chromed out version of it. And it's sorted by 2 different companies to a degree. We got Topps Chrome issuing an Upper Deck design and then just chrome it out. It's a great card. Cool stuff. I like that. So this is the Vladimir Guerrero 1999 Home Run Heroes retail exclusive. All right, next on the list, we have a Nomar Garcia Parra 2000 Upper Deck Bobbin Bobbers, card number 1. So these are actually unnumbered cards. It comes from a set issued in late 2000. This is the other card in the run that wasn't from the Dallas Card Show. This is a weird, kind of obscure thing. This was acquired through a collection. A friend of mine, we had a trade partnerships thing. I like built his website, and then he gave me a collection of his cards, and so this was in it. And I wanted to feature it because it's kind of one of those weird, obscure issues you just don't see every day. So I have it. This is Nomar Garcia Parra, 2000 Upper Deck Bob and Bobbers. All right, next on the list here, Frank Thomas, 2001 Topps Heritage Chrome, serial number to 552. Now, okay, so I have this card already, and it took me a while to finally like just get it because it's like a $30 to $40 card raw. They're just rare. I think this is the first year of Topps Heritage, and it was super popular when it came out. And there's like a base version and a Chrome version, serial number to 552. I didn't want to pay $30, $40 for a base Chrome card, so I waited and waited. I was like, just get it. Well, I paid like $30 to $40 for the one I bought when I bought it some years back. Well, I found this one in Dollar Box. I'm like, and Tony Gwynn and some others, and I was like, I'll just get those. So this is my second example. I figured I'd talk about it because, you look at these and you don't really think about it too much because these cards are so just generic looking. The 52 Topps design, issued in 2001. They're cool. They never got a refractor, which is fine. But because it's the first Topps Heritage, when they first came out, they were super popular and people bought them up. And people still collect these pretty heavily, the chromed out versions of these. So these are really popular cards. I won't put a set together, at least not anytime soon. I don't see myself putting a set of this together, but they're pretty cool. It's pretty cool to find these in the Dollar Box because I essentially paid $1 for a $40 card. Kind of cool. So you have it. This is the Frank Thomas 2001 Topps Heritage Chrome, serial number to 552. I'm moving right along here. This is cool. This is the Kurt Schilling 2004 Skybox LE Gold Proof to 150. I just like these cards. This set comes with a whole bunch of different parallels. There's like one with a relic in it. There's like a photographer proof to 25. There's just a bunch of different versions. Photographer proof of this took me a while to get for Thomas, and I think I bought it off another Frank Thomas collector who was selling some of his collection. And in fact, I may have featured that card. I don't remember. I may have featured that card in one of my top 10 annuals. I don't remember though. You might have to just go back and watch those other videos. But I like Kurt Schilling. There's talk that at some point he'll make the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I get like people don't like what he said or whatever. Whatever. His speech is protected by the First Amendment. Say whatever you want. But Kurt Schilling, he was a dominant pitcher. He was on that like World Series Red Sox team in like the early 2000s. And so he was like, came up with the Orioles, then he was with the Phillies, and then he was with obviously the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he played with Boston. I mean, he's kind of been around to these various different teams. I think there's another team in there too. But kind of a cool thing when I think about his career, he was very good for a long time. And so I didn't file his cards when I was younger. His 89 Donruss is like his standalone rookie card. You could say that with Sammy Sosa because he's in the 89 Donruss Baseball's Best set. That people forget he was with the Texas Rangers on that card. But his 1990 stuff is considered rookie card, I guess. Rookie RC. But when I found out about the Baseball's Best Sammy Sosa, I was like, oh my gosh, he's in the 89 Donruss Baseball's Best set? That's awesome. Such a cool thing. Schilling, when I saw this, I was like, I think this was $1. I think this was in the Dollar Box. Again, because I bought volume, I'm paying like 75 cents more, like 60, 75 cents for these cards. I don't know if Kurt Schilling even cares one way or another if he does or doesn't make the Hall of Fame. Probably it was a surprise for a guy like Harold Baines to make the Hall of Fame. Because I think I may have filed Baines in my B binder. I don't remember. I remember getting his rookie cards in 81 Topps, like later in the late 80s, early 90s. But I don't remember filing Baines. Maybe I did. I think I was more likely to file Baines than Schilling because I don't think Schilling really became dominant until like the late 90s. Kind of like Mariano Rivera. Until they figured out how to use him in like the late 90s, he just was kind of like a utility player. And he became like the greatest closer of all time. Just an incredible guy. But Schilling was just very reliable. So anyway, there you have it. This is the Kurt Schilling 2004 Skybox LE Gold Proof to 150. All right, moving right along here, we have a, oh, I love this. This is the John Smoltz 2005 Topps Pristine Die Cut Red to 66. So this, it was a few bucks more than my normal purchase at these shows. I want to say it was like 6 to 8. I don't remember. It was cheap. And I know the seller. I've known him for a while. Good guy. I bought like, I think 5 or 10 cards or something from him. This was one of my first purchases at the show because he sets up near a guy I help set up. So after I'm done helping that guy, I go straight to this other guy's box and I'll root around and I always find something in his boxes. I hope he brings that box back because he was telling me that someone gave him a hard time in those. They're organized, the box is organized like by row, and each row is assigned to a sport. So like 1 or 2 rows for baseball, 1 or 2 rows for basketball, and so on. And he might have 2 boxes. I think he has 1. Anyway, he was telling me that he had a customer root around in the box and deliberately unorganize the cards, like, and looking at the dealer, like he's moving things around from baseball to football and vice versa. And the dealer was like, "What the heck, man?" He was like, "Yeah," and he's just goofing around. And so my buddy was thinking, he's like, "I might not bring that box." So I was like, "Bring it back for me. You can put it under your table, but when I come by, I'm not going to do that crap. Like, I'll just go through it and buy stuff from you." And he's like, "Well, I'll think about it." He has so much stuff that I haven't seen. I've talked about this before. This guy has a lot of stuff I collect that I haven't seen, and I would love to see it. So every time I see him, I make it a point to go to his booth and check out this box. I just spend like, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks with him, and I go about my business the rest of the show. He's a fun guy to talk to. So this is a cool card. I like these. This is there's like a common and uncommon and a rare of these cards. This is like a base and like a refractor and like the refractor die cut thing. These aren't really refractors, like hollow foil. You know, Smoltz was a guy that when I moved away from binders and into boxes, I had to decide which players were going to get sections. And I think initially most of them still got sections, and I was using like 3x5 cards before I bought plastic dividers. And John Smoltz didn't get the cut for a while. And then I gave him a section back, like relatively recently. I'd say the last like 5 years. I gave him his section back, and I was like, okay, I think Smoltz gets it. This is cool. I like this. John Smoltz, 2005 Topps Pristine Die Cut Red to 66. So last card here, this is the Sammy Sosa 2006 Upper Deck First Pitch. So this was in a collection I bought from a dealer at the show. Really cool guy. I always like talking to him. And I was like, okay, cool. I get to feature a Sammy Sosa card. I always like to talk about Sammy Sosa because he's in that like era of 90s guys I always liked. Admittedly, I didn't file his card in the early 90s. That I think I may have filed in the late 90s before I got out for that like weird, like 5-ish year hiatus. But I always liked Sammy Sosa. I know it's a cork bat and all the steroids and whatever, but dude, he was like the home run chase in 98. It's like really important in the history of baseball. And he was a part of that. So let's talk about this. This is the retail exclusive issued in March of 2006. It's a 22 card set issued in 5 card packs with a 99-cent SRP. So I missed this set because I was out of the hobby. And I missed Sammy Sosa being on the Orioles. A lot of guys I followed play with the Orioles, but for a stint, Albert Bell, again, Kurt Schilling, Joe Carter. There were guys. I mean, Orioles had a great team in like certain. They've always had great players, but it's funny to see some of the guys I grew up collecting and liking being on the Orioles when their prime years were with another team. So anyway, this is the Sammy Sosa 2006 Upper Deck First Pitch. I like that. This is cool. So there you have it. That's my review of the May 18 through 21, 2023 Dallas Card Show. Thanks for tuning in to Radicards TV on Radicards.com. I'm your host, Patrick Reno, and until next time, enjoy collecting. If you like this content, please subscribe. Thanks. Enjoy collecting.